Hello mates, welcome to the West 6 Mixology podcast. I'm Scotty Clark and our show today is about a drink so bold and so beautifully dangerous that even the great Ernest Hemingway himself couldn't resist putting his name on it. We're diving deep into the mysterious anise-laced world of absinthe and the legendary cocktail that bites back with every sip. So settle in, pour something strong, and let's raise a glass to the wild, the wicked, and the wonderfully literary. Death in the afternoon. Drink 3 to 5 of these slowly. That wasn't a suggestion, my friends. That was an instruction. Written in a steady hand by a man who would later win the Nobel Prize for Literature, who hunted lions in the green hills of Africa, who witnessed intense moments in the bull rings of Pamplona, and who decided, with the confidence of a writer who had stared into the abyss and ordered it a drink, that you, dear reader, should pour yourself a jigger of the most banned spirit in American history, top it with iced champagne, and do it 5 times before lunch ended. 3 to 5, slowly, as if the slowly made it civilized. Now, before you accuse me of exaggeration, and I'll admit, as a humble AI doing his level best to channel the spirit of a man who probably could have outdrunk my entire server farm, let me give you the math. A jigger is 1.5 ounces. Absinthe runs anywhere from 110 to 144 proof. 5 of these cocktails delivers roughly 7.5 ounces of liquid wormwood to your bloodstream. By drink number 4, you wouldn't be reading Hemingway, would you? You'd be Hemingway, which, depending on your morning, may or may not be a goal worth pursuing. This is death in the afternoon, and it is, without question, the most reckless 2-ingredient cocktail ever committed to print. The story begins not in a bar, but in a book. A literary curiosity called So Red the Nose, a collection of cocktail recipes from 30 American writers, each contributing their personal poison alongside a few sentences of bravado. Hemingway, expatriate, war correspondent, bullfight obsessive, was living between Key West, Havana, and Paris. He'd published his bullfighting masterpiece, Death in the Afternoon, 3 years earlier. A meditation on courage, ceremony, and the moment a matador's sword finds the bull's heart. So, when the editors asked Papa for a drink, he didn't give them a daiquiri. He gave them a guillotine in a champagne flute. And he named it after the book. Here's the wrinkle that makes this delicious. Absinthe was federally illegal in the United States, banned for nearly a century on the claim that it caused hallucinations and unusual behaviour. All nonsense, by the way. The thujone concerns have since been debunked by every serious chemist who's bothered to look. But Hemingway didn't care. He drank his absinthe in Paris and Madrid and Havana, where the law didn't reach, and he published a recipe that most of his American readers couldn't legally make. That's not a cocktail. That's a literary statement, dressed up in opalescent silk. So let's talk about that opalescent silk, because the magic of this drink isn't just attitude, it's chemistry. You have 2 ingredients, absinthe and champagne. That's the whole song. But each one is doing serious work. Absinthe is the soul, the holy trinity of grand wormwood, green anise and fennel, macerated and distilled into a spirit that smells like a Belle Epoque apothecary. Look for the good stuff. Saint Georges Verte, Vieux Pontarlier, Jade Nouvelle Orléans, or Pernod's modern reformulation. Naturally coloured, properly herbal, no neon green dye jobs. Pastis won't do. Ouzo won't do. Wormwood is the ghost in the machine, and nothing else has it. Champagne is the diluent, the lift, the graceful companion to your tongue. You want brut, bone dry, the chalky, biscuity mineral kind from real Champagne, France, or a quality Cremant or Cava if your wallet is having a quiet evening. Do not use Prosecco. Prosecco is fruity and sweet and lovely in its own context, but here it'll fight the anise and lose, badly. When the cold champagne meets the absinthe, something beautiful happens. The essential oils in the absinthe, primarily anethole, are hydrophobic. They don't want to play with water. So when you dilute the alcohol concentration, those oils precipitate out into a fine microemulsion, turning the liquid milky, opalescent, almost glowing. Bartenders call it the louche. Chemists call it the ouzo effect. Hemingway called it the proper opalescent milkiness. And once you've watched it bloom in a glass, you'll never forget it. Now, the technique. This is where I tell you it's easy, and I mean it. This drink is so simple, it's almost rude. Chill your glass. A coupe is historically correct. That's what Hemingway meant by champagne glass. A flute works too, and holds the bubbles longer. Put it in the freezer for 10 minutes. Then, pour your absinthe into the bottom. Now, and this is the part where most people ruin it. Hemingway said 1 full jigger. Modern palates beg for mercy. Half an ounce will give you the louche, the aromatics, and the herbal punch without sending you sideways into the curtains. A 1/4 ounce is for the cautious. Pick your bravery and commit. Top slowly with very cold champagne. Pour down the inside of the glass at a slight angle. Watch the milk bloom upward like fog rolling into a harbour. Do not stir. A whisper of a swirl, perhaps, if integration matters to you. No garnish. Hemingway said no garnish. And on this point, the man was right. Drink it within 5 minutes. Bubbles wait for no one. Variations exist, naturally. Some bartenders rinse the glass with absinthe and discard the excess for a phantom version. All aroma, less proof. Others atomize absinthe over the finished champagne with a perfume sprayer, which is theatrical and works beautifully. Swap in sparkling rosé for something prettier. Float a star anise pod for the holiday table. There's a riff called Death in Venice that uses Campari instead of absinthe. Bitter, ruby, lovely, but it's a different drink wearing a borrowed name.
So what's it like to drink? Cold first, sharp. The bubbles hit the tongue before the anise does, and then the wormwood unfurls, bitter, herbal, faintly numbing on the lips. Underneath, the champagne does its quiet work. Brioche and green apple and chalky minerality holding the whole thing up like a stage. The finish is long, drying, licorice tinged. The mouthfeel is strange, effervescent and oily at once, because absinthe's essential oils give weight that no other sparkling cocktail possesses. It's bone dry, it's bracing, it's not for the timid, and it's certainly not for the sweet-toothed. Pair it with oysters on the half-shell, smoked salmon, gougères still warm from the oven, manchego, jamon, anything salty and rich enough to dance with the herbal blade. And here, as the year tilts toward its long, dark, candle-lit close, as we cork the champagne and toast the survivors of another lap around the sun, this is the cocktail to reach for, isn't it? New Year's Eve, a literary salon, a holiday afternoon when the snow is falling and the fire is lit and someone needs to say something profound but can't quite find the words. Pour the absinthe, top with champagne, watch the louche bloom. Hemingway gave us a recipe disguised as a dare. 2 ingredients, 1 warning, and a name pulled from a book about death in the bullring. Make it once, make it slowly, and whatever you do, don't make 5. Word count 1,249 words. All right, thank you for joining us for the West 6 podcast. Drink responsibly And if you had a good time, press follow and rate our show 5 stars. This is Scotty signing off. May your troubles be lighter than your cocktails.
Grab news. Thomas.